In my job, I spend a lot of time talking to coaches, helping them to talk to each other and the wider world. It's all about sharing great practice, developing the profession, and making coaching even more effective. Now, this is fascinating and it's often fun, but it's really only the start of the story. Coaching is about the client's agenda. It's about the people we help. So what do they think about it? How has coaching really impacted their lives? Hello, and a warm welcome to this podcast from Management Futures. I'm Hugh Reynolds, I'm Head of Digital Learning, and if you're new to Management Futures and what we get up to, I'll just mention that our work is all about enabling leaders, teams, organisations and coaches, and that coaching is always at the very heart of what we do. My guest today is Angeline Cross, who's recently had some coaching from Management Futures. Whilst the content of Angeline's coaching conversations remains confidential, Angeline has been really kind in giving us insight into the process of her coaching experience and how she's been able to benefit from it. I really hope you enjoy listening in to our chat. Angeline, thanks so much for your time this afternoon. It's great to have you involved in this and talking about coaching with you. I just wondered if, in a couple of nutshells, you could tell us who you are and what you get up to within Nissan.
Hi. My name's Angeline Cross. I work at Nissan Sunderland plant where we produce the vehicles. It's one of the sort of four entities that we've got in the UK. I'm currently HR senior. I look after pensions, payroll, employee service centre, our fleet service, and really anything that's sort of HR service delivery. So things like HR contracts, like catering and workwear, etc. It's very much around sort of employee engagement as well. It kind of tipples over into that sort of function.
So you've got a lot on your plate and you're working with lots of other people, but today we're really zooming into you and your experience of coaching. So it's you as an individual, really. So along that career journey that you've had getting to Nissan, sort of, had you had any experience of coaching? Did you know what coaching was?
Yes, I did. I've been fortunate enough to go on a Management Futures coaching course. Did that down in London a few years ago, which was brilliant in understanding things like great coaching questions, giving feedback, and really sort of challenging myself with sort of good listening skills, etc. But yeah, I've worked in learning and development, so I've kind of come across coaching as part of learning and development quite a lot over the last sort of 6 or 7 years. I do like to kind of have a coaching style of leadership as well. So I'm not heavily into detail, which kind of means that my default tends to be coaching. So yeah, I understand coaching. I get it, and I really do. I think that I understand the benefits of really good coaching as well.
Really interested that you've had that experience, sort of finding out about the subject and the skills, and you're using those skills in your own work, and then you're coming for some coaching and it's all about you and you're in the room with your coach, and just tell us a little bit about that experience. I mean, how does that work for you, and what are you coming to the coaching room with in terms of expectations and things like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was so grateful. I didn't know that it was something that our business offered, but when you move into a promotional role at the level I was moving into, you're offered a transition coaching sessions. What was great, I could choose the coach that I wanted. So I was given a selection of coaches with different backgrounds, different experiences. And the coach that I chose, I felt fitted nicely with the kind of things that I would need. But even though I'm used to coaching and I've dipped my toe in that myself, that you still can't. Well, I still found that I was kind of questioning what would I really be getting out of this. My role was becoming bigger, not necessarily different. So my preconceptions were that I was grateful for having the coaching as an opportunity, but not necessarily, didn't necessarily have really high expectations about, the impacts of that.
What surprised you about the experience?
Well, it was the last session that I had, and there was a really good exercise that challenged me to reflect on everything that's happened in the last year. The things that I was concerned about, the things that I was anxious about, the things that I had were challenging, the issues that I had. And when that exercise was really powerful because it just really gave me that potted history of all the little achievements that had happened over the year, but also where coaching had that positive impact on that as well, So it really showed us that how powerful that the coaching was in progressing as quickly as possible into the new role. And actually comfortably into the new role as well. So yeah, it's been really, it's been really beneficial into the my sort of starting point and my first 90 days in the role.
And was the coaching over that 90 days? I'm really interested in the timescales, and on what timescale we should be coaching,
Yeah, it's a really interesting one because with mine it's slightly different. Normally you get a promotion and then you're kind of promoted a month later, and that's when your coaching starts. I was promoted, but the actual new role didn't start until 9 months because it's pensions and payroll, which are really complex parts of the business. So I needed that 9 months learning period. So what was great as well, normally it's 4 sessions I think it's in a 6-month period. But what we did, myself and my coach, we kind of stretched that out, and it was flexed to suit the stages that I was going through, so that we got the most out of it in considering my sort of circumstances.
Yeah. I'm hearing a couple of things there stand out for me. One is that there's a sort of cumulative effect, right? That you start from this place and literally you're taken to another place through the coaching, and it's in that reflective time looking back at how you might be using different skills or behaving in different ways. Would that be fair to say that there's an accumulation of benefit?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And some of again, there was sort of really varied exercises that the coach did, and but they weren't. I got a sense they weren't pre-prepared. It wasn't something that was considered before the coaching session. It was something because of it was an exercise because of that coaching session. So really adapted to my needs. But I think there was one exercise that really stuck in my mind, and that was about thinking about my strengths and the value that I bring to the business. And it's not something that you do on a day-to-day basis. You just kind of move on to the next thing and move on to the next thing. You just don't really consider, what you're doing well. We don't. We think about what we're doing wrong and try and learn from that and not do it again. But so again, it was really reinforcing. Sometimes you have a bit of doubt, am I worthy of this position? Am I worthy of this promotion? Will I be able to do it? Will I cope? Will my team, work well for me? Will they be happy? So you have all of these anxieties and all of these questions, but some of these exercises just kind of made you go, you know what? I think I might be all right here. I think I might just pull this off.
Yeah.
So yeah, the coaching wasn't just accumulative and progressive. it was really getting me to think about me and
Mm,
what I can bring to the business. So it would really I just what was the word I could really encouraging, really
mm,
motivating, really inspiring. And yeah, made us really prepared sort of emotionally,
yeah.
for the changes to come.
Hi, how are you finding the conversation? You're listening in to a podcast from Management Futures. I'm Hugh Reynolds, and my conversational partner today is Angeline Cross, a Human Resources Senior at Nissan Motor Manufacturing UK. Angeline and I are exploring her experiences of being coached. Thanks for listening in. So there's a lot of positive feeling there and positive impact on you as a person. Do you have any sort of specific examples of things that you've done as a result? And sometimes it's a more general sort of influence on your behaviour set or your skill set. But can you give an example of anything that changed because of coaching, do you think?
Yeah, well, actually, some of a lot of the exercises that we kind of went through together, I've actually used those exercises on my team as well. There was one particular that springs to mind is the Wheel of
Oh
Life.
yeah, yeah.
So obviously, what you're looking at there is what's going well in your life or your work, but what is being impacted. And I had some preconceptions about what might be going on with the individuals in my team. For example, maybe one member of my team working too hard and not really seeing her daughter.
Mm,
But actually, when we did the Wheel of Life, that wasn't an issue for her at all.
yeah.
So that was really powerful. We've looked at things like engagement sweet spots. Just so yeah, I've kind of used what has worked for me and just
Yeah.
tried it on the team, and that again has been quite bonding and has supported building that rapport with the team when they're particularly new to us as well.
Thanks, Angela. I love to hear that sort of amplifying effect as well.
Yes.
That you do it together with your coach, and then you're able to use those methods as well more widely, which is
Yes.
great. And just thinking about the Wheel of Life there, it's all about balance, and where your life, one section or segment or spoke of your life might be unbalanced. Something I wanted to ask about was challenge, right? Because coaches often talk about challenge, or they might ask their coachee, how much challenge do you want? But I'm also interested in comfort. So was there a balance there between the challenge that your coach sort of gave to you and also the comfort in the relationship that you had with them, the rapport?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's not something I thought about throughout, but yeah, absolutely. I felt comfortable with the coach. I did feel like I was challenged, but it was normally it was quiet. Normally it was silence
Mm-hmm.
that challenged my
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
Because I'm a
Silence
little
is
bit.
so powerful, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I don't like airspace. So yeah, so that was particularly good. But it was a really good balance of stretch and challenge and always felt safe to kind of ponder on the questions or to, or to even ask back,
Mm.
with the coach, or even, bring issues and the things that are kind of on my mind. I never felt like awkward to share that.
Mm. It sounds like you enjoyed yourself and had a good time through it. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing that you'd do it again.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Well, actually, that was the parting question on the fourth session, which is normally the final session.
Mm.
We are allowed two additional voluntary sessions.
Yeah.
So I was asked if I would like that,
Mm-hmm.
and absolutely, because I felt like I might have been falling off the edge of a cliff in a way. Not, I
Right.
didn't want
Yeah.
that to end. Not that I felt
Yeah.
like, oh my God, how am I going to cope without the coaching? But I just felt like it wasn't something I was ready to kind
Yeah.
of stop. So it was actually the same day I went back to my line manager and asked if I could take up those 2 additional voluntary sessions, and that's been granted. So
Great.
yeah, so
Great.
absolutely.
And budget aside, resources aside, what in the future can you see yourself going back to coaching, or maybe recommending it to a colleague in the future? What sort of things, in what sorts of situation might you recommend it?
Yeah, definitely for my team, some of the team that have got line managing, I would absolutely say coaching is essential, because obviously people are so diverse, aren't they? And sometimes there isn't one size fits all when you're managing people, and that's why it kind of throws up things, those challenges and things that you've got to deal with day in, day out, and really think about. So definitely coaching for leadership. But yeah, so budget aside, God, yes, it would be great if everybody could do it. But I was quite lucky that I've been able to take part.
Yeah. And we were lucky to work with a group of people, including yourself. So thank you for that. I just sort of coming to the end of our time together, Angeline. Really, really grateful for these insights. I'm wondering, you'd recommend coaching in the future to other people, dependent on the situation. But is there any advice you could give them about getting the most out of their coaching experience? What would really help them have a really effective coaching experience with a coach?
I think for me, it's preparing yourself before the first coaching session, thinking about what it is that you're anxious about, thinking about what your challenges are that you face, thinking about what your issues might be, or what you want to develop, or what you want to be better at. So I think it's about that, so that actually from your first session you can get going with something, and that you can talk about and work on. I think it's just getting off the ground as quickly as possible with the coaching. So having that reflective time, I think, before the first session would definitely help.
Great. Thank you for that, Angeline. Really, really helpful, I'm sure, to other people who are thinking about it, or thinking of putting their foot in the water of coaching, the vast sea that is coaching. Really enjoyed our time together today. And I'd just like to say a big thank you to you and all the teams at Nissan for all you're doing. And thanks for being on our podcast today. Thanks so much.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you to the coach as well.
I think we should name the coach, actually. I might edit this bit out at the end, but
yeah,
are you okay if I say who your coach is?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine.
Fantastic.
But I guess what I should have done was ask before you started recording whether it's okay
to
say
no, that was my fault, Angeline. Let's do a big shout out to Julia Philpott, who is my friend, colleague, and just coach extraordinaire. Thank you, Julia, for what you did as the coach throughout this and this podcast. Thank you. All right, take care, Angeline.
Thank you.
Look forward to catching up soon. Take care.
Yeah, bye.
Thanks again so much to Angeline and her colleagues at Nissan for enabling this follow-up conversation, which came on the back of Angeline's coaching conversations with our top Management Futures coach, Julia Philpott. If you'd like to progress your own coaching journey or discover what else we're up to in this developmental space, do check us out online, or drop a line to info@managementfutures.co.uk. That's info@managementfutures.co.uk. Until next time, take care.